Now that we have talked about HankFire, why to use HankFire, and which are the different background jobs, it's time to write some code. And for that, I'll create a new project using Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. In here, go to File, New, and Project. From the templates in here, I'll choose the ASP.NET Core web application, then click the Next button. I'll name this project HankFire-Web API and click the Create button. Then next, from the templates that I get in here, I'll choose the API template. I see that from the drop-down, I've selected the ASP.NET Core 3.1, and next I'll click the Create button one more time. Now that our project is created, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to install HankFire. So for that, go to Solution Explorer. In here, right-click on your project, and then go to Manage NuGet Packages. In here, go to Browse tab, and search in here for HankFire. I'll install the first HankFire result that comes in here, which has 7.4 million downloads at this time. And in here, click the Install button. I'll accept the licenses. And after the HankFire is installed, you'll get in here a readme.txt file which gives you instructions on how to configure HankFire in ASP.NET Core apps and ASP.NET Standard apps. Now, since we are working with an ASP.NET Core apps, we are going to check the first section. So, inside the Configure services, we need to add 2 lines. And then inside the Configure, we are going to use the Use HankFire Dashboard method to have access to the HankFire dashboard. So, let us copy these lines, go to Solution Explorer, and then in here go to the Startup.cs file, and scroll down to the Configure services method. Just before the Add controllers, I'll paste these lines. Now let us import in here the namespace for the Add HankFire method, and that is the HankFire. And we see that the error is gone. Let's go back one more time to the readme.txt file, and in here copy this other line. So I'll just copy this line, go back to the Startup.cs file, and go inside the Configure method, and paste it before the Use routing. So I'll just paste it in here. Let us now save the changes. In here we see that in line 29, where we have the Add HankFire method, we are using the Use SQL Server storage as the persistent storage, and we need to provide a connection string. So let us go to the SQL Server. Now for that, you can either use the SQL Management Studio, or you can create a new database from the Server Explorer on the left. If you don't see the Server Explorer on the left, you can simply go to View and then Server Explorer. In here on the data connections, I'll just right-click and then create a new SQL Server database. I'll first find the server name, and my server name is the etr/SQL server. Now I'll use the Windows authentication, and I'll create a database named HankFire-Web API-DB and click the OK button. So now that the database was created, I'll just right-click in here, go to Properties, and copy the connection string. So Ctrl+C to copy this value, and then come in here and replace the connection string in line 29. So remove this one and paste the connection string. Now in here we are going to get an error because of the slash, but to ignore the slashes in the connection strings, you can type in here @ and everything inside the connection string will be ignored. Before we run our app, let us go to the Solution Explorer. I'll just remove the weather forecast. I'll just remove this file. Then inside the controllers, I'll change the name of this controller from weather forecast to HankFire controller. So let us select this part, remove it and change it to HankFire, and press enter. Yes, we want to change the class name as well. So here we have now HankFire removed. Let us remove all the methods from inside here. So I'll just select everything and remove them. Now inside here, I'm going to create the first API endpoint. That is going to be an HTTP GET. And this is going to be a public iActionResult GET, which will return an OK message, which says, hello from HankFire Web API. Let's put in here semicolon. Let us save the changes. Now let us go to Solution Explorer one more time. In here, go inside the properties and then launchSettings.json file and change the weather forecast to be HankFire. Change it down here as well. So HankFire. Save all the changes and run the app to see the result. And we can see in here that because we have the /HankFire, we are redirected to the HankFire dashboard, where we can see a real-time graph, a history graph. Up here we have the jobs, we have retries, recurring jobs, the servers that are currently running. And if you go inside the jobs, you can see in here the enqueued jobs, scheduled, processing, etc. And they are all set to 0. And that's all you need to do in here. Now let us start creating our jobs.